Today, the Department of Justice released a report detailing allegations of anti-Christian bias under the Biden administration. The report confirmed 14 key findings, including that the administration pursued aggressive prosecutions against pro-life demonstrators, but responded less aggressively to violent attacks against pregnancy resource centers. Traditional Catholics were investigated, monitored, tracked, and scrutinized, even though they had not engaged in criminal misconduct. And the IRS investigated churches because of what their pastors preached. Camille Varone, senior counsel from the U.S. Justice Department, is here to talk about the report's findings. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's in the report, and which groups does it claim were being unfairly targeted by the previous administration?
Well, thank you so much. So, this report summarizes the findings of 17 federal departments, the cabinet members of them, and we've spent all this time going through what the Biden administration did with regard to Christians. And what we found was that the Biden administration engaged in bias against Christians, oftentimes Catholics, because they chose to act in accordance with their beliefs. So we walk through a bunch of examples in the report. One of those that I'll highlight for you is the Biden administration's Health and Human Services actually withheld funds from a Catholic hospital because the Catholic hospital had a sanctuary candle that they refused to extinguish. There was a similar issue where the Biden Department of Agriculture withheld funds from Catholic schools who were trying to feed children using the school lunch program because they were unable in their diocese to sign on to the Biden administration's views of gender ideology. These were significant findings. There were examples with the Biden FBI where they were identifying traditional Catholics as possible domestic terrorists or violent extremists because of their beliefs on matters like life and family. That kind of discrimination is just unreasonable and not consistent with what federal law and the Constitution requires.
For people who are just hearing about this report and may not fully understand everything about it, what is the evidence about these Christian groups who are being targeted?
Well, so what we have are, 210 pages of findings. I think it's almost 1,200 footnotes compiling all of the source material. And from the Department of Justice perspective, we've included internal privileged communications, both from the Department of Justice and the FBI, about some of those findings.
Now, it seems that this limited Christians' ability to act in accordance with their faith, and it's everything from life, family, marriage, self identity. How are things going to change moving forward? What are you doing to fix all of this?
Well, so it's essential that we do so, and so the task force has an entire chapter where we go through example by example. There's enforcement actions, litigation, policy changes, new regulations that have been announced across all of these 17 agencies because it's incredibly important to the Trump administration that we treat all people of faith equally, that we're not choosing favorites, and that Christians and Catholics especially are able to live their faith freely because that's what the law requires.
From the research that went into this, why was this happening at all?
Well, so I think that what we saw here was a fundamental difference in worldviews. So the Biden administration had policy preferences that were incompatible with traditional Christian values, the Bible's teaching, religious traditions. And when those conflicted, the Biden administration cited that policy priorities should take precedence over constitutionally protected rights. And that's what we were looking at here is Christians' ability to actually live out their beliefs. It's not something that the Constitution only protects your ability to hold your faith privately or within your church. The Constitution protects rights far more broadly than that. And that's where the issues were.
An extremely important topic. Camille Varone, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.